Okay, so this is Tiffany, and I'm here with Jesse of Tanlines at the Sinclair to talk about food. How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I've seen that today is the last day of the tour
It
for the
is.
band, and you've been touring for a month.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
So how has the tour been for you guys in terms of the food that you've had?
Well, the thing about touring in general is that there's highs and lows. So when it comes to food, the lows are usually just all the in-between spots, and when you don't have enough time, to find a good place, you have to grab something quick. And also for me, like, I get very hangry if I don't eat for a while.
Okay.
So for me, there's a big impulse to, like, I have to eat, and if I don't take care of it when I'm looking at it, I'm afraid it's going to be hours before I get a chance again. I'll be a worse person.
Yeah. So less sort of eating snacks on the road and more deliberate meals, you'd say, or?
Yeah, also another thing, I have a rule on tour, my salad policy is if I see a salad, I should eat that salad. Because sometimes if you don't see salad for days at a time. But in general, when we tour, we always try to find, wherever we can and wherever we have the time, we'll use like Chef's Feed or the Eater app or whatever to find a decent place, and we sort of spaced them out throughout the tour where we went to like really great restaurants in different cities, and then there are also the places that we go back to from every time we're in town.
Yeah, what are some examples of places you've returned to?
One is in Austin. There's several Eastside King restaurants. I think it's Paul from Top Chef. I can't remember his full name, but Paul from Top Chef.
Key?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has a bunch of restaurants. Eastside King, it's like Thai style street food,
Right.
and we go every time we're in Austin to one. We've been to most of them. They're very similar.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I went to a pop-up that he did in New York.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. This was at City Grits. Do you know about it? It's like an abandoned school that they turned into this like pop-up restaurant place.
That
And the
sounds about
bathrooms
right.
are literally like they're like little kid bathrooms. It feels super weird.
That's
but,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that place.
What would you recommend there? Do you usually get the same thing when you go, or?
I like to get one of the bento boxes, which is just like a little of everything, pretty much, because I want to try everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other returns that you've had?
Let's see. On this tour, the thing about this tour is we went to a lot of cities that we had never been to before.
Yeah, because I saw you started out in the Midwest or something, and I
Yes.
personally have no experience eating in the Midwest, so I don't really know what's there. What was your experience like?
A lot of bar food,
Okay.
pretty much. That the Midwest part, that was the toughest part of this tour because the shows were so. We didn't have a lot of time anywhere except for Cincinnati. We had a day off in Cincinnati, and then we got robbed in St. Louis.
I heard about that on your podcast.
Yeah, while we were doing a food trip. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
okay. So what were you eating when you got robbed, and was it worth it?
No.
It's never gonna be worth it.
Not at all. It wouldn't have. There was no way it was close. We went. Well, I have these friends in New York who own a restaurant called Speedy Romeo. It's in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, in Clinton Hill, and they do this St. Louis style pizza. So I tweeted them. I was like, "Where should we eat in St. Louis?" And he said, "You have to go to Emo's. That's where we get our cheese from."
Yeah,
it's like
someone's recommended that.
It's like a St. Louis chain. So I'm like, all right, we're all going to Emo's. We park the Sprinter, middle of the city, middle of the day, go inside, eat the pizza. It's so. It's fine. Like, it's not great. Something to write home about. It was unique cheese, I guess.
Well, yeah, I've never had St. Louis pizza, so what
Yeah.
makes it St. Louis?
The cheese is called Provolone, which I think is...
Provolone and something else?
I think it's maybe like a mix of provolone and mozzarella.
Okay.
That's what it felt like. And then, yeah, it was fine. And then we went outside and we went back to the Sprinter, opened the door, got in, and someone was like, "Where's all our stuff?"
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, and apparently it happens in St. Louis a lot because I was contacted by the local news and did a little segment about it because bands keep getting robbed there.
Jeez.
So that was all very dark. And then, but once we got out west, it started to get better. The first best meal I remember on this tour was in a new restaurant in Seattle called Nue, N-U-E.
Okay.
And
Not like the band.
no, yeah, it's a pretty new place, and they do. It's very international. It's like international street food, like refined or whatever.
Okay.
So
like sit down
place.
Okay.
Yeah, sit down place. So it's like I can't remember exactly what it is, but you could get like jerk chicken wings and oxtail soup and different mixes of stuff, but it was all really good. And we met the owner, and we invited her to the show.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I said I put her on the guest list, and then we're playing the show, and I'm looking down, and I'm playing, and I see her like smiling and like waving at me.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it was cool. It was fun, and I'd definitely go back there.
What's the name of this place again?
New N-U-E.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the first really good meal I can remember, and that was about 2 weeks into the tour.
Okay.
Almost.
Yeah.
So
it took a while to get there.
yeah, but after that it got rolling. You know, San Francisco, I had a burrito, and we went to, in Phoenix, we went to Pizzeria Bianco, which is a famous Phoenix pizza place, which I was a little dubious about because now brick oven, wood burning oven,
it's
pizza, it's everywhere. You know, this place has been there since 1987. So, our drummer makes pizza at Roberta's in New York. Do you know Roberta's?
Roberta's. Yeah.
He's a
That's
cook.
in Brooklyn too, right?
Yeah, it's the best. It's an amazing place.
Better than DeFara?
Well, that's old. That's first wave.
Yeah,
you can't really compare. Roberta's is third wave, and they're kind of the kings of it.
Okay. Where in Brooklyn is it?
It's in Bushwick.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And so our drummer is a chef there, pizza chef.
Oh, no way. That's
so
cool.
I wanted to get his take on this Pizzeria Bianca. He's like, it's legit, it's good, and it was amazing. It was great.
Yeah. Do you have any restaurant experience or anyone else in the band?
No. My first job was at a bagel shop when I was 14.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you do at the bagel shop? Were you baking?
I bagged.
Oh,
bagged bagels. Yeah. It was a place it was like an industrial bakery. And on the weekends, someone convinced them to let them use the ovens to just make wholesale bagels.
Okay.
So they used the ovens, and they'd come straight out, and they'd be in these big bins, and people would come, and you order a dozen at a time.
Does it still exist?
I have no idea. It was called Planet Bagel in Maryland.
Okay.
Suburban Washington, D.C., Rockville, Maryland.
Did that give you any sort of, when you look for a bagel, has that changed your outlook on bagels generally, having worked in one?
I mean, I knew...
/ factory? Sounds like
it was kind of like that. Yeah,
yeah,
it was kind of wholesale bagel.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't do sandwiches. We just did dozens.
Bagels,
yeah. Well, I knew when Einstein Bagels appeared, which was after this, I knew that they didn't boil their bagels, which is kind of the definition of a bagel.
Yeah.
So I knew that was not legit.
Okay.
At a very young age. That's it. I mean, I got... Yeah, that's not really all I took away from that. I still like them. I didn't lose the interest in bagels because of working with them.
Yeah. All right. And you said that you've been finding places to eat from, like, Chef's Feed and
Chef's
Eater?
Feed and Eater. Those are two apps that we'll use. Yeah.
Are you anti-Yelp? I know a lot of people are, so I'm just wondering. Do you
I wouldn't go so far as to say that I'm anti-Yelp, but there's a part of me that's like, I would never write a review for a place.
Okay.
And so it just doesn't occur to me to ever write a review for a place. So I'm not necessarily going to be somebody who looks only to the opinions of people who do write reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't identify with the impulse to write them, so my go-to isn't necessarily the voice of all the people who do. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, and every time I look at it, it's like, I had a bad experience here. Well, that happens.
Well, they're not food writers. Yeah. It's a different perspective.
So, but, Yelp reviews are making their way into more and more things that are not Yelp. Mm-hmm. Like Google Maps or Apple Maps uses it. And so they make their way in, but I'm not a big fan of internet comments in general. So I try to sort of get my information from a mixture of places.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll just be in a city and I'll just Google Bon Appetit Portland or like whatever city I'm in because at some point they probably wrote a review of or a profile of a restaurant, and I really like Bon Appetit magazine's approach to like cooking and food. So generally, what they like is what I like.
Okay.
So I'll do that sometimes.
Yeah. All right. And I'm curious, do you have any opinions on the Chef's Feed redesign? Because
Shocking.
I was
Shocking.
confused when
it happened in the middle of this tour.
Yeah. It happened like 2 weeks ago or something.
Yes.
I remember I opened up my phone and I was like, "What is this?" And then
Yeah.
it wasn't even just that the icon was different when you open it. The
Everything.
animation,
It
the
licks
style.
your screen. It's yellow. It's totally different. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to like. One time I mentioned them and they tweeted me. They're like, "We're fans of the band." So
okay.
I like them. I use them. I haven't quite explored the redesign. I wonder why they felt like they had to change so much.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah, I've been a really big fan of Chef's Feed. That's usually what I use when I go traveling for conferences and stuff for my research. But when I saw the redesign, I was just like, it seems like a Yelp direction, but I haven't used it myself. So
and it's kind of like a Rolling Stones logo a little bit now with the tongue. We talked about it on this tour,
okay.
Eric and I. We were like, did you see the new the redesign?
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations on Highlights.
Thank you.
I was wondering if, because I read that a lot of the, I guess, early recording happened in Pittsburg.
The first week of recording did, yes.
Yeah. So do you have any...
It might get loud in a few seconds.
Okay.
I just realized that. It'll be ambiance.
Yeah, no. I just had,
because we're about to sound check. The first week was there.
Okay.
Just where we started writing it. And it was sort of like a trip back home to Eric, where he's from, and he took me to a bunch of his spots, and we worked in the basement, and it was mixed experience.
Yeah.
And but I've spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh also. I have family there too.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, as a food town, it's like a sandwich city. Okay. Like, it's hard to have a meal in the middle of the day that's not a sandwich. And I love sandwiches, so,
Okay.
Yeah. Pluses and minuses.
Yeah. So, thinking back to, I guess, that first week of recording material for the album, would you say the food you associate with that week would be sandwiches, or is there a particular food
I think it would have... Well, the main food I remember that week, we went to 2 different hot dog places.
Okay.
One is a place that I love called D's Six Packs and Dogs, which is it's just a Pittsburgh place. You get hot dogs and you walk into a room-sized cooler to pick out your beer.
Okay.
In Pennsylvania, it's very common to buy 6-packs at restaurants. They have weird liquor laws. And then we also went to the original hot dog shop downtown, where if you order a small French fries, they literally take a whole tray and just dump French fries on top of it, and that's your order of French fries.
Okay.
So those are the 2 places that stand out the most.
All right. So like really healthy food.
Really healthy. Yeah.
But you're getting your salad fix now. So.
It's a range of between gray and brown.
All right.
So.
Yeah. So, and then was part of the mixing or something happened in LA?
Yes.
I had seen that
we did like 3 trips to LA to work on this album with Patrick Ford, who's our co-producer. He was our live sound guy. We worked with him. He moved out there and has a studio. So we went out there about 3 or 4 times while we were making the album.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a great food city.
Right.
I mean, everything in California kind of just... My thinking is that like New York has better restaurants because it's so competitive and there's so many chefs and it's so competitive. But the food in California is better. The food itself is better because it's just a generally higher level of food, produce, things that are from there. So things are just taste good there. But New York has the restaurants, better restaurants overall.
That's interesting. Wait, do you mean like the produce is better?
It's fresher.
There?
Everything's fresher. Everything's more like in season. It's more grown there.
Right.
The stuff doesn't come from as far away. It's just more of a fresh food place, just in general. And they have a longer tradition of caring about ingredients than we do out east. So overall, I think like food just in general, if you're going to walk into a random place, it's going to be a little bit better out there.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my theory.
That's an interesting theory. I mean, I think people definitely associate like California cuisine with the Bay Area, but
Yeah.
LA definitely has its own, like can
Oh,
hold
yeah.
its own in terms of
Oh,
the
yeah.
restaurant scene and food scene too. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
We'll go to Forage in
Okay,
Silver
yeah.
Lake a lot, and Squirrel is another place I like
Never
a
heard
little
of that
more
one.
than Eric likes it. Rice bowls. That's my thing when I'm in
Okay.
LA. Just like I could eat that every single day. Just like a bowl of rice or brown rice or some sort of grain, some pickled vegetable, some sort of protein, some chopped scallions, some sauce of some kind, maybe some kimchi. Salmon would be that would be like my ideal meal. I could eat that every single
Okay.
day. Yeah.
That sounds pretty healthy.
Yeah. And that's what I like to cook at home also.
Okay. Are you much of a cook then, or is
Yeah.
that typically what you do when you're not on tour?
Yeah. I like to. I like to. And one of the things about touring that I don't like that I miss is that I don't get to cook. You know, actually on this tour I was home for 2 nights in the middle. I flew
Oh, that's
home.
nice.
Yeah. And I saw my wife and I cooked while I was home. That's what I did. I made a salad. I made food. I left stuff for her in the fridge, and then I flew back and finished the tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you make?
I made, salad is my main thing. So I
Okay.
made a big salad.
Salads are hard though. You need to definitely have the right ingredients for it to taste good.
Yeah.
What did you put in your salad?
I usually stick to one salad for a while, and then it'll turn into a different salad, and then that will be my go-to salad. For a while, I was really into making this like Greek marosalada, I think it's called, which is just like romaine, dill, scallions, cucumber, and just olive oil and lemon. Now I like to make like arugula, fennel, and cucumber, and then I like to make anchovy dressing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And parsley. Always parsley. The thing I always
you
buy
need
at the
fresh
grocery
herbs.
store is every time I go to the grocery store, I buy lemon, parsley, and maybe one other herb, and just put it in everything.
Yeah. Well, that goes in a lot of things.
I sound like such a
Italian,
food
Mediterranean.
person
Yeah.
right now.
No, this is great.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I was wondering was I know that your band has kind of expanded.
The live band.
Yeah. Last time I saw you guys, it was just you and Eric.
Correct.
And now there's more people.
Correct.
So what's it like touring and getting food with
Great
more
question.
people?
It makes
Is
it a lot harder.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot harder, especially for me because I really don't like being in a restaurant with like more than 3 other people at the most. Like a large group of people at a restaurant is like my worst idea
like
of a good
splitting
time.
the bill.
Splitting the bill. What do you want to order? Are we sharing? Are we this, that? You have to wait for everybody to be there. Like the big long birthday dinner is like, it's
Your
not.
nightmare.
So there have been times on this tour where like I found a place I wanted to go and I called. This happened last night and I was like, "What's the wait for 6?" And they're like, "An hour." I'm like, right in
6 now.
There's also our tour manager, our lighting guy,
your sound guy.
Yeah. So this is in front of everybody. I'm like, "What's the wait for 6 people?" And they're like, "An hour." And then I'm like, "How about for 1 person?" And everyone laughed because I'll just do that. I'll just be like, "I'm out. See you guys later." I'm just going alone because it's like I need to. If I feel like I haven't had a good meal in a while, I feel like I just need to get it when I can. I have to be I have to be ruthless about it. So I went out to go there by myself, but then I actually ran into some friends on the street in Philadelphia and ate with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is part of it sort of, I know being in touring with the same group of people for 4 weeks can be also pretty grueling. Is that part of it too? Or is it mostly you just want to have a good meal and it's hard to coordinate with 6 people?
It's just like the more people there are, like the more different agendas there are in every single place. And someone wants to go close to the club and someone doesn't care and somebody wants to meet a friend and there's a vegan. Yeah, that's the sound I was talking about. And so it's just like some nights I'll just go with whoever like happens to be there. Hey, come, let's have dinner, you know. Other nights I can see the conversation starting. I'm just like, I'm out. I'll see you at the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that.
Okay, and no sort of like, I know some people feel really uncomfortable eating by themselves at restaurants.
Yeah,
but that's not.
Well, I'll usually sit at the bar If I'm
Oh,
alone,
got it.
I'll sit at the bar. It's also easier. You can walk in almost anywhere and sit at the bar. I don't feel... If it's lunchtime, I can sit at a table and, like, order off the menu with the server and maybe, like, read a newspaper or look at my phone or whatever. At night, I wouldn't feel good like, going into a restaurant, sitting alone and order. It wouldn't feel great. But I'd sit at the bar.
It takes longer, so you're sitting by yourself for, like, 40 minutes.
Yeah. So I'll usually just sit at the bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you mentioned before that you're from Brooklyn.
Okay. 12 years I've been there. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm sure you have your sort of go-to places then, having lived there for so long. So
yes.
If you had a friend visiting you, where would you take them to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Okay. I'm gonna skip breakfast for a second. Lunch. Well, I'll just mention a couple restaurants. Okay. One is I already did Speedy Romeo in Brooklyn. I love it. You can go for lunch or dinner there or brunch. They do pizzas. They have this big wood-burning grill, wood-burning oven and a wood-burning grill, which is pretty cool. And they do pizzas and other grilled stuff. Another place I really like is called Glady's in Crown Heights. Also could be lunch or dinner. Maybe it's just dinner there. It's sort of like a West Indian, kind of modern West Indian place. Very cheap, very, very delicious. You could, if you went with a group of like 4 people, you could just like order one of everything and it'd be the perfect amount of food and you'd have a great meal. Lots of like little bowls of sides and like it's really good. Breakfast is tough. I guess I don't really go out for breakfast that much.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean Murray's Bagels. I'm a big fan of Murray's, and there's 2 locations in the city. I once saw Bill Murray there.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's a
at
story.
Murray's. And I was like, there's a way to like say something to him that would be funny and cool just because.
Oh, I'm sure he's heard it before though.
Yeah, and I was like, nah, yeah.
Okay.
So there we go.
Yeah. So the second place was your dinner recommendation.
Well, Glady's, yeah, they're both like pretty. Glady's I think is only open for dinner, so that'll be my dinner recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So I just have one last question then.
Yeah.
While this band, I'm guessing this is the opener.
That's not. No.
Oh,
That's
you
our.
guys?
That's
You
just
guys
the
have
sound
a new
check.
sound?
This is our sound. No, it's our sound guy's way of testing the system out.
Oh, got it.
So he runs that through the system, and he can hear every frequency he needs to hear.
Yeah.
He does it in every room, so he knows what to listen for.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he does this song, Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
And
All
he hears that in every room. And when we hear this Depeche Mode song, Enjoy the Silence, that's when I know I need to get up there because I'm next.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay. That's like your lead-in song then, before you guys get on stage?
No.
or-
This is just for sound checking.
Okay,
We're not
got
playing
it.
for 4 hours from now.
No, yeah. All right.
So this is just the sound check procedure.
Yeah, okay. So one last question.
Sure.
So if you were to try to encapsulate Tanlines into
Yes.
a dish on a menu,
Ooh.
what sort of dish would that be?
Well, it would have to be sweet and sour. That's the essence of Tanlines. That's mixed emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the winky, sad,
sad, right?
right? The yin yang. It's the mixture of seemingly disparate things in one cohesive unit. So, maybe it would be like. So I don't know. I don't want to say sweet and sour chicken because that's not a good dish. That's not a good food. It would have to be healthier than that. Maybe it would be some sort of, rice bowl with like a... Am I creating the dish or am I picking something that already exists?
It's up to you.
It's some sort of modern, healthy version of sweet and sour chicken. I'll just say that. It's like... It's familiar, nostalgic, so it hits the nostalgic part of you that liked that dish when you were a kid, maybe. But it's modern and healthy and age appropriate for like a person in their 30s.
Okay, age appropriate sweet and sour chicken for someone in their 30s
Yeah.
that likes.
That likes what? That likes Well, it would be delicious. Whatever it is,
Okay.
it'll be delicious.
All right,
Yeah.
and just the chicken by itself? No.
No. Well, over rice.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
And with a lot of vegetables and herbs.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for my questions. Do you have any other final food thoughts that you wanted to close with?
I already had way more thoughts than I ever expected to talking to you, so I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.